Alright, what is going on, my dudes? We are back here today with the buff details for Rocket Raccoon. We're going to be breaking it down, and as always, I highlighted everything you need to know. So, sit back, relax, and let's start jumping into this little furry rascal, alright? So, Rocket Raccoon, about Rocket. Ain't no thing like Rocket, except Rocket. The Keystone Quadrant's most notoriously cranky furball, kind of like me. He's a master of gadgets with an affinity for heavy weapons, and is always down for a heist, especially if it involves blowing things up. Also like me. He may be ornery, but he is extremely loyal to his teammates from the Guardians of the Galaxy. Just don't call him a raccoon. Alright, so, prestige. Yo, this guy has top 10 prestige now. This is at rank 3, 13,730, 5-star rank 5, 10,680. This is above Namor. Very big prestige bump. Now, with the emergence of Quicksilver and an infamous Iron Man, you also have, of course, Doctor Doom and Silver Surfer. He's not going to be, you know, super duper impactful to the top of, like, prestige anymore. But if you don't play at the tippy top and you just need a prestige bump and you're ranking up Rocket, he actually could be a good champion to invest into because, like I said, he's right up there with Nimrod. He's right around Hercules' level of prestige. He's higher than Namor. It's the first buff we've had that actually, like, reached high levels of prestige there. That's cool. So, Rocket's mechanics. Rocket's new kit is here. His kit has been upgraded with the latest tech to enhance his abilities. As a scavenger, Rocket spends his time gathering scrap metal to make weapons of mass destruction. Players will be using his critical hits to chip away at the opponent's weapons and armor to gain scrap metal, which he can spend using his special attacks to gain different forms of utility. If Rocket is feeling pressured by his opponent, he can use his scrap metal to build a shield system, which grants him a ton of defense. His sig ability is also incredibly strong, giving him a powerful heal block when combined with armor breaks from his heavy attack. So, lots of good stuff here. Let's jump right into it. Strengths and weaknesses. We can kind of skip over that stuff. Let's go right to the abilities, okay? So, scrap metal. This is kind of like his bread and butter thing here, right? So, max of 50. Even while in a fight, Rocket actively hunts for metal scraps to make weapons of mass destruction. All of Rocket's attack gain increased critical rating by 370 for each hit in the combo meter. Now keep in mind, this is based on a 5-star rank 5 champion, so 6-star rank 3, rank 4, rank 2 is going to be a different number there. I think, at least, but for most of the numbers, most of the values it's going to be, but I'm sure that one will be as well. Whenever Rocket lands a critical hit, Rocket chips away at the opponent's armor and weapons, granting him 2 scrap metal, and this value becomes 3 when fighting against metal opponents, okay? So, hashtag metal champions, he's going to be ramping up even faster on, but it's not like that's needed at all, but it is definitely nice to have there. Whenever an armor break effect removes an armor up buff from the opponent, Rocket steals the broken armor pieces and gains 10 scrap metal. So against champions with an armor up buff, right? Funny enough, I feel like there are a lot of cosmic champions who have armor up buffs, right? So yeah, and he's a tech champion, but again, if you remove the armor up buff, you get 10 scrap metal, which is nice, which is definitely very nice. So, developers note scrap metal is Rocket's main resource. He uses it for all of his special attacks and his shield system. Maintain your combo to strike your opponent with critical hits, to build up scrap to melt your enemies, build your defense, or inflict powerful power drains. Now, just to put it in perspective here, you know, every attack is going to increase his critical rating by 370, right? Precision from Hercules is like 2200, just one of them. So that's what, you know, like, let's just round up to 400, you know, 4, 8, 12, 6 hits, right? 2400 is going to be higher than 1 precision from Hercules. So you're going to be like hitting almost guaranteed crits very, very fast. Definitely not guaranteed crits, but your critical rating is going to go very, very, very high, very, very fast. As long as you don't get hit. So, shield system. Whenever Rocket dashes back and holds block for 1.2 seconds, he will use 25 scrap to construct a dormant shield system to protect him from threats. When Rocket is struck while the system is active, it will activate and last for 6 seconds. Activated shield systems grant the following effects: 1130 armor rating, 1130 physical resistance, 30% special attack resistance, so kind of like a cowardice in a way, and then combo shield, which is great because you get hit, you don't lose your combo, you don't lose your ramp. The shield system can also block unblockable attacks from mutant champions. The shield system will activate early when Rocket would be struck by a mutant's unblockable attack. That's great for a lot of those champions like Sauron and Weapon X who go unblockable, right, and heal a lot. You know, you're going to be able to heal block them. You're going to be able to resist their unblockable if you mess up. That's going to be really, really nice. Rocket's old shield system has been upgraded with the latest scrap. He combined all three of the effects, but at the same time added the scrap metal cost to build it. This allows Rocket to gain some incredible defense to prevent him from getting melted in an instant. However, it will consume precious resources to be maintained. Heavy attack. The first hit of the heavy consumes 10 scrap metal to inflict an armor break debuff, max of 5. The armor break lasts for 15 seconds, which is quite long, and reduces armor rating by 233. This ability cannot be activated while under 10 scrap. So this right here, this is not meant to be like a damage armor break. It's meant to be a utility armor break that goes along with his signature ability. Okay, and we'll circle back to this when we go over the sig ability. Special attack 1. Each hit inflicts a rupture, but it's called Relentless Raccoon. Each hit inflicts a rupture debuff, dealing 2477 physical damage over 12 seconds. And of course, you know, as a 6-star, it's going to be higher. And if you happen to run the Suicide Masteries, I don't see it being based on base attack only, so that's going to be increasing it even more, which is definitely a decent bit of damage. Each hit consumes 15 scrap metal to power drain the opponent, draining 15% of the opponent's current power over 1 second. This ability does not activate if Rocket has less than 15 scrap metal, of course. So this is really, really solid for keeping control of the fight there, because keep in mind, you're going to consume 15 scrap, right? But if you're ramping up, there's pretty much going to be like 3 critical hits. So you're going to be consuming 15, gaining 6. If they're metal, gaining 9, right? So you're going to be able to spam that special 1 if you have to keep putting the damage on and also keep power draining the opponent. Going to be good for stuff like all or nothing, keeping them under 3 bars of power, nodes like that, right? Other nodes as well, where they're going to be gaining power, where you just don't want them to get to a special 3, of course, right? Keep in mind, you also have the sig ability if there's running willpower, if it's that kind of fight, but we'll get to the sig ability when we get there. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? The special 2, Grenade Toss. We've all seen it, we've all gotten hit by it, we've all died by it, does a lot of damage. Rocket takes all of his scrap metal and constructs a destructive grenade. Rocket gains up to 1431 increased attack rating for the final explosion based on the amount of scrap metal consumed. That's actually a decent bit because he has very high attack already. This explosion inflicts an armor break debuff lasting 30 seconds and reducing armor rating by up to 1520.69. Nice, based on the amount of scrap metal consumed. So if you have 50 scrap metal, right, you're going to be doing a lot of, you know, a big armor break there. It lasts for 30 seconds, which is nice. Which is definitely really nice, and it goes along with the sig ability, which we'll get to in a second. Special 3, the Big Blaster. Rocket uses his scrap metal to make the Big Blaster to annihilate his opponent's power bar, consume all scrap metal to inflict a 12-second power drain debuff, draining up to 2 bars of power based on how much scrap you had. And while that power drain is active, the opponent is also passively special locked for 12 seconds. This devastating blast also inflicts a bleed debuff, dealing a lot of direct damage over 30 seconds, about 9,000. Again, that could be increased with deep wounds and also the Suicide Masteries. Now, keep in mind here, 12 seconds is more than enough time, especially if you parry right before the special 3, get back to the special 1. So if you need to drain even further, right, while they're passively special locked, you'll have the special 1 ready to go. Within those 12 seconds, you can get off 2 to 3 combos, right, and build back some of your scrap. And in fact, the developer's note says that right here. Rocket's special 3 leads to an incredibly potent power drain. A special lock, the special gets more and more powerful as you reach max scrap. The special also pairs incredibly well with the special 1, which will destroy the opponent's power bar even more. Speaking of that, signature ability, Master Technician. While the opponent is under the effect of an armor break debuff, they are passively heal blocked. So essentially, heavy attack puts on a heal block for 15 seconds. Also, the special 2 puts on a heal block for 30 seconds. Is basically what that means, and those can stack. Whenever the opponent would gain health from regeneration, they are inflicted with a power drain debuff, draining 1 to 5% of their current power over 0.5 seconds for each armor break debuff on them. So that could be a lot more with multiple armor breaks, okay? Keep in mind, you can have, you're never going to have this many, right? You're just not going to. But in theory, you can have up to 6 armor breaks if you do 5 heavy attacks with enough scrap and a special 2. So that could be at max sig, right? 30% of their current power over 0.5 seconds. Never going to happen, but that's just the potential, the maximum there. I mean, let's say you're doing a node where in like Act 7, where debuffs are increased by, like the Paradox, the debuffs are going to be increased by like 300%. Yeah, then you'll have all of those armor breaks on them, and it'd be pretty fun. And let's say they are healing, right? That's going to be a fun time, but that's just not 1 in a million fights you're going to see that, right? But point is, kind of like Warlock. This is like Warlock 2.0 here, man, okay? He does it a little bit differently, where the power drain is very strong when they're running willpower. They're going, first of all, heal block is always great. Just takes away the willpower from the armor break debuff that you're going to be having on the defender for most of the fight, which is really, really nice. But on top of that, you can just keep hitting into the opponent, right? Not worrying about them getting to a special 3, which is really, really nice. And in fact, he does it a little bit better than Warlock, because what Warlock does is Warlock, you need to have the parry on him or the armor break from the special 2. But with Raccoon, you're always going to have the armor break on them. So that means they're always going to be healing from willpower and Alliance Born Battlegrounds, assuming that the opponent is running it. So they're always going to be like, even at Sig 1, constantly draining a little bit of power, so they won't be using that special 3, so you can just keep hitting them, which is really, really solid. So on top of that, which is a very great ability here, Rocket's shield system grants him a lot of crit resistance, and while dormant, Rocket's shield system grants him a lot of block proficiency, which is really good because he's a little squishy, his health is a little bit low, right? So that's going to go a very long way in helping him be a little bit more bulky. So since Rocket's previous Sig ability was moved to his base kit, we wanted a new ability that really allows him to shine in the tech class. In order to do this, we added the heal block while armor break effects are active. Whenever this heal block prevents healing, it will melt away the opponent's power meter, an incredibly powerful ability, especially combined with Rocket's devastating armor breaks. That being said, his other abilities aren't shabby either. Crit resistance and block proficiency allows Rocket to survive even longer as long as he has scrap to build his new system. Good stuff. So there's some new synergies with this guy too. Nothing crazy, nothing needed here, but whenever Rocket inflicts an armor break using a heavy attack, he gains an armor up buff, increasing armor rating by 400 for 10 seconds. This is going to go, again, decent bits in order to just making him a little bit more tanky, which is nice. He's a little guy. He's a little guy, got little block proficiency, but this is going to definitely help be more tanky, right? I'm also going to make him a nice Havoc counter. You got that armor up buff, which is good. Pretty much on-demand armor up buff for 10 seconds. Activating a special attack grants a precision buff, increasing critical rating by 405 seconds. This is for Winter Soldier. Cool. I mean, like, Winter Soldier keeps getting all these synergies, man. He just needs to get reworked eventually, man, and just, like, remove all the synergies, put some of them in his base kit, and just give him a new thing. And it's just... he's just not good. He just does not have a good base kit. I know people say he's good, but he's just not. Misty Knight, whenever Misty would gain 2 anti-metal or cryogenic charges, she gains 3 instead. That's really good for her. I mean, not too many people use Misty, and people use her often stuff like Eternity of Pain and Battlegrounds, where she's good. He can't have synergies in those two content. So, you know, if you happen to use Misty in, like, casual questing and stuff like that, right, then that's going to be good for her. But the places where she does shine, you don't really get the synergies, but this is a nice synergy for her. Who knows, maybe it'll make it better in those other places as well. Over here with the Yondu, really good synergy for both, actually. Max scrap metal increased to 60. That's going to be good, right, because he uses it as currency. Also going to make the special 2 hit harder. I mean, will that interact with the special 3 and more power drain? I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, it gives you more scrap to work with. And Yondu, special attack 2 fury duration increased by 50%. This is really good for Yondu. Yondu, very good, pretty underrated, to be entirely honest. Again, he's kind of like Nimrod Light, so if you have Nimrod, you don't really have a need for Yondu, but at the same time, he's definitely not a bad champion. The biggest downside to him is the special 2 fury doesn't last as long as it should, in my opinion. So increasing it by 50% is definitely going to help him quite a bit. And then we have some random synergies, and then some incoming synergy bonuses were changed right over here. If critical hits grant Rocket 1 additional scrap metal, which is really good, especially against metal champions. So getting 4 scrap metal per crit, and against anyone else, 3. This is a really good synergy for Rocket. This is a typo, by the way. This is still the 700 for Hitmonkey, and I believe this is the same. And over here with Groot, 9% special 3 damage, going to be good for those champions who use special 3s as their main source of damage. And then just general with Nebula, right, good champion, just gains 6% attack. So, yeah, overall, man, this guy's looking pretty freaking sweet. He has top 10 prestige now. He's getting some really nice utility added along. He's always had damage. He's still gonna have damage, and now he has extra utility on top of that damage. It's going to be actually relevant for stuff like War and Battlegrounds with that Warlock-esque willpower punishing, you know, power drain. So yeah, he'll have damage unawakened, but man, in my opinion, you really do want him to be awakened. Personally, my Raccoon is rank 3 unduped. I mean, he's a freaking Raccoon. I would have done it pre-buff. If he wasn't getting buffed because he's a Raccoon, I wouldn't recommend anyone else does it, but I'm really hoping I dupe him in the very near future. Hopefully on Monday when I open those crystals. But yeah, Rocket Raccoon, man. That's the buff. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you excited for it? Personally, I'm pretty excited for it. It's pretty cool to see Rocket Raccoon be usable. Hopefully, Groot is coming up next. We'll have to see. But anyway, my dudes, that's going to be it for this one. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big old like and let me know what you think about Rocket in the comment section below. And make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any Rocket gameplay coming to you next week. I'll be seeing you around.